Hey, this is Mayor Sandy Robertson, and when I'm in town, I like to watch Lady J.
Jay Jenkins, you're sick for this one, baby. What? Hey, come on. Lady J's montage is a show to watch for the mom and the children and the pops, giving life to the community. In the community, there'll be more unity. Sit back, relax, take a look. Give me 28 minutes and you'll be hooked. Lady J's montage. Lady J, what? Lady J, what? Lady J, huh? Lady J, what? Hey. Lady J's montage is a show to watch for your mom and the children and the pops, giving life to the community. In the community, there'll be more unity. Sit back, relax, take a look. Give me 28 minutes and you'll be hooked. Lady J's montage. Lady J, let's go!
February is Black History Month. But why? Where did Black History Month come from? It began with this man, Carter G. Woodson, a historian and writer. Woodson noticed that his people were, quote, overlooked, ignored, and even suppressed by the writers of history textbooks and the teachers who use them, end quote. So he started a Black History Week in 1926. And people celebrated it enthusiastically. They started Black History clubs, and teachers started recognizing the contributions of Black Americans in their classrooms. He chose February, by the way, because it held the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, two men he believed had done tremendous work for the rights and liberties of African Americans. It took another 50 years, though, for Black History Month to become officially recognized by our government. The president at the time, Gerald Ford, said that we should seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. Here's the funny thing, though. Carter G. Woodson hoped that someday people would no longer celebrate Black History Month. He saw the day when it would no longer be necessary, when finally we would see Black history in America for what it really is, an essential part of American history.
What I really would like to do is to inspire you this morning of how you can succeed in life coming from this area. As she said, I grew up in Nash County, and I attended Maltby Hubbard School. I don't know if you ever heard of that school, Maltby Hubbard. And I also attended Northern Nash, Friday nights. Yeah. And there you go. I hope they be Rocky Mountain tonight. I hope they do. I think they're playing Rocky Mountain tonight. Anyway, and then I went on to college at St. Augustine's College in Raleigh. That's where I studied music. Music has always been my passion. I always loved music from a child all the way up. So I studied music in college, and I came back to this area rather than going out of state or some other areas. I came back to my home area to teach school. So I taught here at Nash Central for a while, back in the 80s, and also taught at Northern Nash in music education as well. And after teaching for a while, I began to get sort of popular because I was singing, recording, and I couldn't travel here and there and get back to the classroom in time on Monday. After going to New York, Orlando, Florida, Texas, or whatever, and I had to be out on Fridays, and sometimes a lot of Mondays I couldn't get back into class. I had to make a choice, so I stopped teaching and devoted full time to my passion, which was music. And little lean years, but the Lord blessed me to be able to succeed for the past 30 years. That's what I've been doing, is my music and also preaching. I'm a pastor, local church in Rocky Mount. What I want to say to you this morning, in very short, is what I'm doing now is comes from a dream. I dreamed of doing what I'm doing now, and I would write it down, and it seemed like a far-fetched idea for me to travel and to sing and to be a famous musician, singer, record records and travel everywhere. It seemed very far-fetched because I was working on the farm, picking cotton and tobacco and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, wow. I mean, is there anywhere other than Nash County that I can do whatever? It just seems so far-fetched. But what I would do, I would come home during my lunch hour, and I would write down my play schedule, itinerary, as it's called now, where I was going to be singing each night. I had no idea where I would go to these places, but I would write it down. But dreaming that I would go to these places, I would write it down. Tonight I'll be singing in Washington, D.C. Tomorrow night I'll be in New York. The next night I'll be in Dallas, Texas. The next night I'll be in Atlanta. And I just write down all the big cities that I knew as a play schedule, not knowing that by writing it down, that one day God will bring that to pass for me. So I'm saying to you guys, write your dreams down. Whatever you want to be, don't just think it. Write it. Write it down. I mean, it may seem just the craziest thing in the world. I want to go to China. I want to work in, well, not right now. I don't go to China right now. Anyway, whatever you want to do in life, write it down. I mean, it may seem crazy to you or everybody else or whatever, but write your dreams down. And then work towards your dreams to make them a reality. Okay? And as far as Black History Month is concerned, I think that's why I'm here. I have a lot of heroes. We all think of Martin Luther King. That's the first one we think of when we say Black History Month. But there are a lot of people that we can recognize and appreciate. And among them is your own parents, your own teachers. Okay, they are your heroes. So you don't have to go way back in history days and all, which is good. It's good to honor Dr. Martin Luther King, Sojourner Truth, Bethune Cookman, all these people, Frederick Douglass. They're good people to honor. But you have heroes right among you. Your mother, grandma, they are your heroes. My heroes are my father and my mother and my grandmother. I picked cotton beside my grandma days. She would have 2 rows. She'd be picking 2 rows. I don't know if y'all know anything about cotton. I'll be picking 1 row. I could hardly keep up with her with 1 row. She'd be picking 2 rows. And sometimes I would get behind. I always get a row right beside my grandma, because she would sing songs all day long, and I would love to hear her hum and sing. She was a great singer. She didn't ever record or do anything like I'm doing, but she could really hit those notes. And I was pick cotton beside her, and that's how I got my music lessons as a child, trying to mock her and to sing like her. But anyway, she would help me out, because she would be picking her 2 rows, going on down the row. I'll be picking 1, and I would get behind. I couldn't keep up with her with 1 little row that I was picking. But then, as I was picking so hard, trying to catch up, I would get to a clear place where there was no cotton. I was like, what happened to all the cotton? I don't see no cotton. My grandma would have picked her 2 rows and my row so that I could come up and be with her. Wow. Y'all give my grandma a hand for that. I'll never forget that. There's so many other things that she helped me, and she would protect me because I was a very quiet kind of guy. I wasn't, all out there, but a lot of things she would come to my defense on a lot of matters. She saw that I was smart, and she would give me a quarter every Saturday. I'd be pick cotton all week long, and I'd get a quarter to do whatever I wanted to do with it. Ice cream, popcorn, go to the movies. You could do all that with a quarter back then. But I appreciated my grandmother, because she would always inspire me to sing and to do. And she had a piano. My grandmother had a piano in her house. and not many other people on the phone had a piano, but my grandma had a piano in her living room. The living room was like, don't go in the living room. Don't sit in there. You can't hardly even look at that. That was out of zone. You know, you can't go in the living room. But she would let me, little Luther, go in the living room and play the piano. And my brothers and everybody, we telling my grandma, Luther's sitting there on that piano, then you didn't make him come out. She would make them come out of there. But she would let me play. Man, she'd give me a high five, dog. She would let me play the piano. You know, my little tink, 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 and she could see that I wasn't just in there keeping fuss or trying to just bang on the piano, trying to make a mess, but I was trying to play quiet. But how many know you can't play a piano quiet? The people gonna hear you. But I was making little two-note things, and I was teaching myself how to play. And my grandmother allowed me to play the piano. That's one of my heroes. My father and my mother sent me to school, one of the first in our family to go to college. Got me in there somehow or another and helped me to stay in school and to get through that season and blessed me to do what I do. I was minister of music at my church, and I would write little songs for Sunday mornings, songs that nobody else had ever heard, you know, not just the hymns and things. I created a little song and practiced it with the choir, and I would have them sing it on Sunday morning. And my dad would be sitting there, he was a pastor, he'd be sitting there like, okay, I never heard that song before. I don't know what he's doing there, but that one pretty good. That one right there, now he need to go back and work on that one some more. That ain't. But I had the freedom to exercise my gift. My father allowed me to do that. And so they are my heroes. I'm so grateful to them for all they have done for me. So that's what I have to tell you this morning in short. To recognize your local heroes, your sisters, your brother, your auntie, your teachers, your principal, the policeman, your uncle, whoever. Recognize them as your heroes as well, not just the figures, the big time figures that you hear way off somewhere, but you have local heroes that you can honor and obey. I know you hear this all the time, but stay in school and be good, okay? Don't be the troublemaker. You hear me right? Don't be the troublemaker. Okay, I'm not just looking at you. I know you're not a troublemaker. But don't be the troublemaker. Be good. Oh, y'all laughing. Is he the troublemaker? Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they just saying that. But you're in school today, but stay in school and do well, go to college, make us proud. Come back to this area and work. I could have gone to Atlanta. I've had choices to go to Mississippi, New York, other places to work, but I chose to come back to this area to make it my home and to make my gifts known around here. And I have not regretted a day that I've done so.
We will highlight 10 African-American kid entrepreneurs. Young business owners are among the most driven and revolutionary leaders today. Competing against established, innovative, and growing companies force you to think creatively and remain passionate about your product or service. These young, successful Black entrepreneurs have many traits in common, but the most important one is that they believe in themselves. They receive support from their parents, family, friends, or even strangers, but they started with an idea. These young entrepreneurs took a chance. They drafted a business plan, then they strategized and executed their plan. Keep an eye on these game-changing, enterprising kids as they continue to make waves in the business world. We here at Black Excellis salute all of these kidpreneurs, and we recognize their courage and persistence. In this original Black Excellis video, we will be featuring 10 African-American kid entrepreneurs. If you have children or students who are expressing interest in entrepreneurship, this is a must-see. But without further ado, let's get started. Michaela Ulmer, 13, Me and the Bees Lemonade. An entrepreneur and bee ambassador, Michaela Ulmer created a product that combined her great-grandmother's flaxseed recipes and her passion into what she named Bee Sweet Lemonade. Michaela's lemonade is sweetened with honey from local bees with a percentage of the profits donated to organizations fighting to save honeybees. The world first learned of Michaela at just 10 years old. when she fearlessly entered ABC's show Shark Tank and secured a sweet deal with investor Daymond John. When she was only 11 years old, the ambitious entrepreneur made an $11 million deal with Whole Foods Market, the chain of high-end grocery stores, to carry her homemade lemonade in more than 55 stores. Mosiah Mo Bridges, 16. Mo's Bows. Unsatisfied with the limited bow tie designs, Mosiah Bridges asked his grandmother to help him create new designs out of material he hand-selected. The need for bow ties that appealed to a younger generation would eventually result in Mosiah starting his own business called Mo's Bows. He would eventually pitch his idea to the Shark Tank, where Daymond John agreed to be a mentor. In 2017, the NBA inked a 7-figure sponsorship deal with the young Memphis entrepreneur, giving his company the right to produce bow ties for all 30 NBA teams. Haley Thomas, 17. Happy. Healthy, active, positive, purposeful youth. When Haley Thomas was 8, her dad was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, but she and her mom were determined to help him beat the disease without drugs. The family dove into the latest nutrition research and began transforming their eating habits. This inspired Haley to educate kids about nutrition. Thus, she founded her own nonprofit, the Happy Organization, standing for healthy, active, positive, purposeful youth. Happy aims to improve the health and wellness of children by implementing programs that teach kids how to cook nutritious meals and promote physical activity. Asia Newson, 14. Super Business Girl. Asia Newson, also known as Super Business Girl, started her candle business when she was just 5 years old, but she has now expanded into a full-fledged empire. As one of the youngest entrepreneurs in Detroit, she would eventually gain worldwide recognition when ABC's 2020 cameras caught her selling her candles on the street. Today, she has expanded her brand to offer more products. But more importantly, she has trained over 40 other young kids in Detroit to be entrepreneurs, thus creating power and possibility across a whole community. Maya Penn. Maya's Ideas. Maya Penn is a successful 16-year-old award-winning eco-designer, artist, philanthropist, activist, entrepreneur, animated filmmaker, coder, illustrator, writer, and author who wants to change the world. Using her art and her business to help the planet and encourage girls to get involved in tech, the young CEO created an eco-friendly clothing and accessories line called Maya's Ideas. Maya has been featured in countless media outlets such as Forbes, Cosmopolitan, Essence Magazine, CBS This Morning, Entrepreneur Magazine, Black Enterprise, and has been chosen by Oprah Winfrey as one of her Super Soul 100 influencers.
If you love our videos and have a suggestion for a future edition, let us hear from you in the comments section below.
Marley Diaz, 13. Hashtag 1000 Black Girl Books. Marley Diaz launched hashtag 1000 Black Girl Books to collect and donate 1,000 books in which Black girls are the main characters. Marley loves reading, but understood that there is a bigger appeal for Black girls to pick up a book that contains relatable characters. As a result of her very successful book drive, Marley was invited to create her own online publication, Marley's Mag, for Elle Magazine's online site. Even more impressive, Marley was just placed on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list and is the youngest person on their 2018 list. Jalen Bledsoe, 19. Bledsoe Technologies. Jalen Bledsoe is a millionaire and credits a technology program for gifted third graders at his St. Louis school for his remarkable success. While in the 6th grade, Bledsoe taught himself web design after taking a yearbook design class. At age 12, he started an IT consulting company with just $100. Today, Jalen's company is valued at more than $3.5 million. Essence Moore, 17. Essence Couture. Black teenager, entrepreneur, and author Essence Moore released the Middle School's Chronicles book series aimed to help prepare younger students for middle school while tackling bullying, low self-esteem, and challenges of adolescence. The tween is the owner of several businesses that include motivational speaking, acting, and fashion. After the successful launch of her clothing line, she added a natural body product line named Wink. However, the salon offers more than just manis and petties. Essence also hosts workshops there that teach children about entrepreneurship, self-esteem, and real-life experiences. Zandra Cunningham, Zandra Beauty. Zandra Cunningham started an all-natural skincare company when she was just 9 years old. Using a small loan of $500, Zandra turned her hobby into a commercially viable enterprise worth over $500,000. Zandra Beauty now offers over 40 products including artisan soaps, body scrubs, body wash, and hand and body lotion. Zandra leverages her success to encourage youth entrepreneurs and empower young African American girls. She has also committed to donating 10% of all net profits to support girls' education. Zandra's hope is to inspire youth to take action and make things happen for themselves and their communities. Corey Nieves, Mr. Corey's Cookies. Corey Nieves always dreamed of making the world better. That passion, combined with a love of treats and an entrepreneurial spirit, led him to start his own business at the age of 6 years old, called Mr. Corey's Cookies. From his tiny home kitchen, Nieves thrived to the point where his operations graduated into a commercial space. Corey and his cookies business was featured on a special episode of CNBC's The Profit, as well as The Ellen Show. These days, he sells up to 1,000 cookies a weekend, and he's currently looking to expand his brand into fashion.
African Americans have played a pivotal role in creating inventions that have had a major impact on our everyday lives. In the Stevie Wonder song Black Man, the Motown Marvel sings of Benjamin Banneker. First clock to be made in America was created by a black man. Though the song is a fitting salute to a great inventor and African Americans in general, it only touches on the genius of Benjamin Banneker and the many hats he wore as a farmer, mathematician, astronomer, author, and land surveyor. But it was his clock invention that really propelled the reputation of Benjamin Banneker. Sometime in the early 1750s, Benjamin borrowed a pocket watch from a wealthy acquaintance, took the watch apart, and studied its components. After returning the watch, he created a fully functioning clock entirely out of carved wooden pieces, all at the young age of 21. The clock was amazingly precise and would keep on ticking for decades. As a result of the attention his self-made clock received, Banneker was able to start up his own watch and clock repair business. Every time a person crunches into a potato chip, he or she is enjoying the delicious taste of one of the world's most famous snacks, a treat that might not exist without the contribution of Black inventor George Crumb. Crumb, the son of an African-American father and a Native American mother, was working as a chef in the summer of 1853 when he accidentally invented the chip. It all began when a patron who ordered a plate of French fried potatoes sent them back to Crumb's kitchen because he felt they were too thick and soft. To teach the picky patron a lesson, Crumb sliced a new batch of potatoes as thin as he possibly could and then fried them until they were hard and crunchy. Finally, to top them off, he added a generous heaping of salt. But to Crumb's surprise, the dish ended up being a hit with the patron and a new snack was born. Years later, Crumb opened his own restaurant that had a basket of potato chips on every table. Though Crumb never attempted to patent his invention, the snack was eventually mass-produced and sold in bags, providing thousands of jobs nationwide.
In 1973, a young Jamaican-born New Yorker known as DJ Coolherd threw a party in the South Bronx. With a pair of turntables, he improvised a technique that isolated and repeated musical breaks. That technique would lay the foundation for a genre known as hip-hop. Hip-hop music emerged from house parties in the Bronx and spread like wildfire between friends and neighbors at block parties. The new sound was electrifying.
In the schoolyard during recess, someone would have a boombox, and then someone would start rhyming. You didn't have recorded versions of hip-hop at that time.
Within a few years, it had become an underground cultural movement, and its distribution was homemade.
You couldn't purchase albums or records, and you couldn't hear hip-hop on the radio. The only way that you could participate in the culture musically was through these cassette tapes, which would circulate all throughout the city.
As its influence deepened and broadened, the music spread from the underground onto the radio. In 1979, a group from suburban New Jersey released Rapper's Delight, one of the first hip-hop records.
Now what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet.
And the Sugar Hill Gang's hit was just the beginning. As hip-hop evolved, it became a passion shared by millions of young Americans who used it to articulate their identity and their politics, creating a vibrant, multicultural community across the country.
Our generation of young people, we had to find new ways to communicate, just getting on the records and speaking about the truth.
Its lyrics reflected the social and economic conditions of the inner cities as seen through the eyes of the people who lived there.
Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. Say what? It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
I think it was Chuck D who said, it's the CNN of the black community. It's actually reporting on all of these things that we've experienced in poetry form and musical form.
In 2017, hip-hop surpassed rock as America's #1 stream genre for the first time ever. Decades after its birth, hip-hop has grown from its underground origins in the Bronx to become one of the most popular genres of music throughout the world.
Freakazoids, robots, please report to the dance floor.